Welcome to Session 10, the last in our Civics unit. We zoom out to the big picture, how the government actually makes decisions, both public policy at home and foreign policy around the world. By the end, you'll be able to follow how public policy is made, name the main tools of foreign policy, and recognize the key doctrines and international organizations the GED tests. Public policy is any decision, law, or action the government takes to address a public problem. It touches nearly everything: the roads you drive on, the safety of your food, your minimum wage, your schools. And it happens at every level. Federal policy handles national issues like immigration and defense. State policy covers education and criminal law. Local policy deals with the everyday things: zoning, police, parks, and trash. Policy doesn't appear overnight. It moves through a 5-stage cycle. First, agenda setting. A problem grabs enough attention, through the media or a crisis, that government decides to act. Then, formulation, where solutions are drafted and debated. Third, adoption. A bill becomes law, or a rule is approved. Fourth, implementation. This is key. Congress sets broad goals, but agencies like the EPA write the specific regulations that carry the law out. Fifth, evaluation. Did the policy work? Were there side effects? That feedback loops right back to agenda setting, sometimes sparking a brand new round of policy. Many players shape policy. Congress passes the laws and controls the budget. The president proposes ideas, signs or vetoes bills, and directs the agencies. Federal agencies actually implement the laws and write the detailed regulations. And outside government, interest groups lobby lawmakers, fund campaigns, and mobilize voters. Groups like AARP, the NRA, and the Sierra Club. And don't underestimate the media and the public. By deciding which issues get attention, they shape what politicians choose to prioritize. Now, foreign policy. How the U.S. deals with other countries. The first tool is diplomacy, simply negotiation and talking between governments. Next come treaties and alliances, formal commitments like NATO. Foreign aid sends money or supplies, like the Marshall Plan that rebuilt Europe. Then there are economic sanctions, trade and financial pressure to change a government's behavior. And at the far end is military force, the last and most costly resort. Think of these as a ladder, from talking all the way up to fighting. A doctrine is a stated principle guiding U.S. foreign policy, and a few are heavily tested. The Monroe Doctrine in 1823 warned Europe to stay out of the Western Hemisphere. In the 1930s, isolationism meant staying out of foreign conflicts altogether. Then, the Cold War changed everything. The Truman Doctrine in 1947 launched containment, stopping communism from spreading. The Marshall Plan backed it up by pouring aid into Western Europe. And later, the Reagan Doctrine went further, actively supporting anti-communist movements around the world. The U.S. also works through global organizations. The United Nations, founded in 1945, promotes international peace. NATO, from 1949, is a military alliance with a powerful rule. An attack on one member is an attack on all. The World Bank and the IMF handle loans and global financial stability, and the World Trade Organization referees trade disputes between nations. And one detail the GED loves: the UN Security Council has 5 permanent members: the US, UK, France, Russia, and China, and each one holds a veto. A single veto can block any resolution. Let's test it. The Truman Doctrine pledged to support free peoples resisting communism. What broader Cold War strategy did it launch? Pause and choose. The answer is A. Containment. The Truman Doctrine launched the policy of stopping Soviet communism from spreading to new countries. Containment guided U.S. policy for over 40 years. Détente came later under Nixon, and the Marshall Plan was the economic companion to the doctrine, not the strategy itself. Let's recap Session 10. Public policy is government action on public problems, and it moves through a 5-stage cycle: agenda setting, formulation, adoption, implementation, and evaluation. Foreign policy uses a ladder of tools, from diplomacy and treaties to aid, sanctions, and military force. The Truman Doctrine launched containment, and don't forget the Monroe Doctrine and the Marshall Plan. Finally, the U.S. works through global bodies like the UN and NATO, where the Security Council veto really matters.